So I've noticed something over the last, 5, 10 years when I'm talking to people. Almost anybody I talk to, I say, hey, if you haven't seen in a while, whatever. Hey, how you doing? And everyone always says, at least for me, the last 5+ years, they say, you guys want to guess? Starts with a B, I'm busy, thank you. Or starts with a T, tired, right? Busy and tired, get busy and tired. I told you guys before, this has been years back. I think when we first moved in here, I said every single person I talk to always goes, yeah, things are good, just busy. Things are good, just tired. Kids are in all these sports, They always say that. Except I had a student who I think left high school, barely graduated, and then started selling drugs. And I saw him at an Ironton football game one time. I said, hey, man, what you been to? Not much, coach. How you doing? He asked how the kids are doing. He was a nice guy. And I said, you doing okay? He said, yeah, just chilling. He's the only guy I've never seen. Here's the sad part. After COVID, I saw him like 2 years ago. And I saw him and said, hey, how you doing? And he said, busy, tired. Even my drug dealer's tired now. That's a true story. I was like, oh, man, everybody is tired now. And what I want to talk about this morning is, what if maybe it doesn't have to be that way? What if maybe we're exhausted and we're just like, yeah, that's just the way life is. But maybe it doesn't have to be that way. I get that life is hard, but there could be a possibility that maybe we don't have anything left in the tank because maybe we're running on the wrong fuel. So I was kind of thinking about this concept today, and everybody runs on something. All of us in this room, people watching online this morning, all of us in this room, we run on something. So even if you don't get anything else, rest, you can just kind of drift off into this and think about it. But I would ask you, what do you really run on? Is it money? That would be an obvious one. Is it my family? Is everything? None of these are bad things, but it's my family. Maybe for some of us, it's the need to be right. Anyone? Right? Anyone ever been on Facebook? I don't know, in the last 15 years, everybody's got to be right. Maybe for you, it's the need to be needed, right? And I know some of us, like my wife now, we're kind of empty nesters, and you start realizing, people don't. We were at Lawrence County Fair this last week, and that's one of the phrases she said, you just start realizing our kids are just right? They don't need us. Or maybe it's the need to impress people, and it's likes, and you're constantly looking at, my status or my social status or what's going on. But I would ask you, what are you really running on? And I want to give you a concept that we'll kind of keep coming back to. I think it's really, really kind of important. But here's kind of the key phrase of all this. You will always return to what fuels you. You have to. You have to. All of us in here have cars. We know this. Whatever fuels me, I have to keep returning to that to fill back up. So again, just before we get started, and we'll be in Ephesians 3 today. And if you want to get your Bible and kind of get there, we'll have the Bible in the sky too, But for those of you real Christians that bring your Bible, right, Todd? Yeah, we'll make sure, that we have our Bible ready. Yeah, we'll be in Ephesians 3. But before we get to that, I really do want you to think about what fuels your life. Kind of keeping this car theme since we're in this series called Road Trip. I just want to give you a couple of quick thoughts, super fast, about Ephesians 3 and some stuff I've been looking at the last few weeks. First is this idea: check your fuel. Check your fuel. What's really driving your life? Now, my wife is in this one because she has to leave and go do something during the 11. So she's filming 9:30, sweet baby Jay in the back. I know some of you would be like, man, that's kind of weird. You make everybody look your way. I don't. You can stare at her for a while. But my wife, when we were first married, she's a 10 in life in all aspects. I'm like a 2. I don't even know why she's with me. So I get it. I get all of you who know me and know her. You're like, dude, God is good, right? You're their perfect poster child for follow God and he blesses. I get it. But there's something she does, okay? If she has any hang up at all, when we were first married, I remember one day I was like, hey, your car's parked behind mine, so I need to go out. And I was like, hey, do you have gas in your car? Now, she had just gotten home. She was just home. So it wasn't like a week. It wasn't like we were on vacation. So I'm like, hey, I need to take your car. Is there gas in your car, though? Because I got to run to South Point and back. And I kid you not, she said, I don't know. Literally just like that. I don't know. She looked at me like I was the weird one to ask such a weird question. And I was like, what do you mean? Jonda, when you get in a car, every human, you get in a car, and before you start it, you look at how much gas you have. And when you get out of a car, I know this is so crazy, but you literally, when you get out of a car, as you turn it off, look at how much gas you have. And she said, I never do that. So like there's some magical, but in my defense, okay, I'm gonna pick on her just real quick. In my defense, and she has to verify this, does anyone wanna know? I get she lives that way. Does anyone wanna know? One person in this room right now, I promise you, actually ran out of gas on her way to C3 not too long ago, right down the road. She was like, why are you stuck in the spot? Ran out of gas. I see her running. She was filming that day. She's running, literally coming back, right? Yeah, you've got to check your fuel. Look at Ephesians 3, starting in verse 14. This is Paul, a guy named Paul. We talked about him for a few weeks. He said, when I think of all this, I fall to my knees and pray to the Father. When I think of this, what's he thinking about? We're going to get to that. The creator of everything in heaven and on earth. I pray that from his glorious, unlimited resources, he will empower you. This is Paul. Paul's kind of made some statements in the first few parts of Ephesians. Now in Ephesians 3, he's going to get into his prayer. This is his prayer for the church. So it would be the prayer for us in this room. He says, I pray that from his glorious, unlimited resources, he will empower you with an inner strength through his Spirit. Now you got to catch something today. That's why I said check your fuel. He doesn't pray for God to make them try harder. Just do more, please. I pray you'll do more. I pray you'll try harder. No. He says, I pray they have inner strength. Inner strength. Okay, I would like to have inner strength. That sounds good. But how do we get that? And he says it's not effort. It's fuel. It's literally the fuel for your source. Now, obviously, you guys know my wife loves the fair. We've been at the fair this past week. But I was thinking back. I was driving to work on a Tuesday. And as I was driving to work, I thought back to when I was 16, I transferred from Sims Valley to Ironton. This is so embarrassing to say. And so the week of the fair, it was like I transferred literally like 2 weeks before that in the summer. So the week of the fair, I am driving because we still had weightlifting and practice and stuff. So I had to leave the fair every morning and go there. Well, we practiced at like 7 in the morning. And I remember the first morning, I woke up at like 4:50. I can't be late. I woke up at 4:50. Coach Folkeson's in here. He's going to make so much fun of this. I woke up at 4:50, and I drove to practice. But here's what I did. I knew how to get from the Lawrence County Fair in Proctorville to my house in Arabia, Ohio. I also knew how to get from my house in Arabia, Ohio to Ironton High School. I didn't know there was any other connections. I know, it's so dumb. I'm 16 too. I literally would drive to my house in the morning, like 40 minutes, get to my house, wave at my house, not get out obviously, and then retrace back 141 and go to Ironton. So we get to like day 3, and my buddy, his name was Jamie Rice, I'm like, man, it's just such a long drive. And he was like, yeah. I was like, it's like an hour and 20 minutes. And we're in the middle of lifting, and he went, say what? He's like, you're in Proctorville, right? And I was like, yeah, but man, it takes me so long to get here. I'm waking up at like 4 something. And he was like, he looked at me like I look at my wife when she doesn't have gas. Like, and he said, what do you mean? I said, well, I've got to drive basically to my house, and then I've got to drive. And he said, you know you can just take 52. And this is how dumb I know some of you are like, this is a made-up story. This is facts. He said, you know you can take 52 from Proctorville straight to Ironton. It's like 30-some minutes. I was like, I was just messing with you, man. And the next day I was like, are you kidding me? Now, why am I telling you this? This is really important. I think some of us, the direction we're going, we're like, man, life is so hard and things keep getting more complicated and difficult. And why is it so tough? And maybe God for you today would be saying, like, I'm not trying to tell you life has to be so hard. I simply want you to know there's a better way. There's a simpler way. There's an easier way. There's a much better way for you to live in this life that I've designed you for. And I think for some of us, maybe like me, it's like, I'm exhausted. And my buddy's like, you don't have to be, though. You don't. There's an easier, simpler way. So I go back to this. What is the thing that fuels your life? What is the thing you are always going to return to? So check your fuel. Heard me say that word. What's really driving your life? Here's the second thought. Change your fuel. Okay, I'm going to tell myself a few times today because this is kind of embarrassing and how dumb I am. Change your fuel. God's love is deeper than you think. Now, we have so many amazing people. Band every week, they're amazing. Our kids workers, I'm telling you, I see behind the scenes, Alicia, her group, they're unreal. Kylie's in here this morning. Kylie comes and helps us. She's off in the sun. We have such amazing people. It blows my mind how many amazing people are in this place. Every week, I'm just like, it's unreal. But my double Scott's in the back, okay? They run Command Center every week. And Scott, they're both Scott. They're just the Scotts. They're amazing. But what you guys don't know about the Scotts is they do so much more. They literally, every week will come and cut the grass. One of them's on the big mower out here. The other Scott is weed eating. And I'm just like, I will be here sometimes on Saturday or Friday when they're working. And I'm just like, it humbles me. It really does. I'm like, gosh, you guys are amazing. So here's what happened. Spring has started this past year, and we're a few weeks in, and I thought, you know what? It was a Friday. I was here, and no one was here, and I thought, I'm going to do something really good. I'm going to actually cut the grass today. I'm going to cut the grass. I'm going to do it, and then I'll text them and be like, hey, grass is covered. And they'll be like, oh, that was nice. I thought it would be a great gesture. So I got out to our big mower, and I get ready to start it. It won't start, and I look, and it's basically, I think it's empty of gas. So I'm like, okay, this will make you guys nervous. So I'm like, okay, so I'll go get gas. So I leave here, drive over to the gas station. I take my thing, and I'm filling it up with gas, completely full. And I'm like, I'll fill it up with gas for them too. Why? I'm a great guy, right? I'm gonna make their day. I bring back the gas. I'm in my car. Anyone that's ever traveled with gas in your car, you know it spills. So now my car smells like gas. It's okay. I'm doing it for the Scots, guys. Okay, the Scots deserve it. So literally, I get back here and I fill up the whole tank with gas. And I'm on the mower, getting ready to start it. I'm like, I'm such a great guy. I mean, they're great guys, but I'm kind of great now too. Can't wait. Get ready to start it. And before I click the key, it hits me. Is this mower diesel? Please don't be diesel. So I start thinking about it. I'm like, it's diesel. So I get on my phone, chat GPT, take a picture. What kind of mower is this? It's like, it's diesel, my friend. So then I have to go get a bucket, and I'm watching YouTube videos on how to disconnect the line, because I know I shouldn't start it, and just drain. I'm draining all this gas. I literally drain it all, and then next thing I know, I go back over, and I'm like, now I need to fill it up with diesel. I fill up diesel. It still won't start. I don't know if it's because of me. I don't know what's going on. I'm freaking out. But here's the thing. I knew that I could not put a fuel in something and run it when it's not designed that way. Now look at what, literally, I think some of us here, we're trying to run our lives on something we weren't designed to run on. Look at verse 17. He says, then Christ will make his home in your hearts as you trust in him. As he makes his way into our hearts. Notice this. He says, as we trust in him, all the areas of our life, the junk drawers, when people come to your house, you stuff all your stuff into a closet, right? Oh, our house is clean. Yeah, those of us that do that. Literally, he's like, no, Jesus says, I want to make room in all of your home here. And he says, your roots will grow down into God's love and keep you strong. And may you, this is so good, and may you have the power to understand, as all God's people should, if you're God's people today. I just want you to understand this. May you understand, this is my prayer for you, how wide, how long, how high, and how deep his love is for you. He said, if I could just have one prayer for the whole church, it's this. I want you to know that when Christ makes his home in your hearts, as you trust him, then literally your roots will grow down deep into God's love. And as you get this, you have the power to understand, as all God's people should. And I'm rereading the verse, but I want you to hear this. How deep. He's basically like, I can't explain it. I can't use human words to explain how amazing God's love is for you. Now, here's why I think this gets to be really good news for us, okay? Just think about this for just a second. What Paul's saying is, there's a source. God's love is this source, and it is immeasurable. We can't measure how great this is. So we all know when we need to fill up stuff, right? And I think some of us, if we're not careful, we're filling up with all the wrong stuff. We're running our lives on stuff. We're wondering why it's so hard. But he says, once you get this right fuel, here's the best part of it, okay? All of us know we have to keep buying more gas. Gas is expensive. It's a dread. He says, but God's love that fills you up, it's like Niagara Falls. I literally wanted to show you. I took a video. I found a video. I didn't take it, right? Literally, he says, we're standing at the bottom. This is us, and it's forever. I can't even measure how amazing this flow is of love for you. And it's going to go on repeat, so you can stop it whenever, or you can just keep it going so they don't have to hear me. It's going to be the one, right? This flow. He's like, no, you got to see, it never ends. You don't have to say, okay, well, I got to keep a little gas in the tank today because tomorrow I'm doing. He's like, no, you can literally stand under the waterfall and just be like, I'm filled all the time. This is God's love for us. That's how amazing it is. So what's this mean for us, okay? Here's my challenge to you. And I know maybe this makes sense or maybe it's been kind of confusing, but I would say first, check your fuel. What's running your life? Because I know we all start believing the wrong things at times, or we start trusting in the wrong things. And maybe for you, you're worried all the time. Maybe for you, you live in fear. You don't have confidence. Whatever it might be. It's like, that's the fuel of your life, though. And Paul's saying, but it doesn't have to be. My prayer for you is that you would check your fuel and then change your fuel. Change it. And realize you have an unlimited supply of God's love, and that's the ultimate fuel for your life. Did you hear that? You have an unlimited supply, more than you could ever imagine, of the only fuel you need to live the life God's called you to live. And it's all based on his love. So what do we do this? Here's the action step, really fast. Okay? Here's what I challenge you to do. Keep using the right fuel. Well, what do I mean by that? People who know they're loved begin to love differently. Now, I want you to look at verse 19 with me. Look what it says. It says, may you experience the love of Christ. I hope you experience that. I do. Every week. I texted a friend this week. I actually texted 3 different people. And in all of them, one was going through a really tough time. One was having a conversation with me. Another just literally was asking a question. But I said, I mean this. This is my goal for all the people I encounter every day. I pray as I walk away, maybe I can be some good news to them. But more than anything, I pray that they literally, Paul's prayer here, may you experience the love of Christ, though it is too great to fully understand fully. I pray you would experience that. And then he goes on, he says, then you will be made complete with all the fullness of life and power. Wait, Paul. No, give me my checklist of the things I need to do so I can experience the full power of God. And he says, I just told you, if you could just understand how amazing it is. May experience the love of Christ. Too great to understand. You'll be made complete in all the fullness of life and power that comes from God. Now, and he celebrates, now all glory to God who is able through his mighty power at work on us to accomplish infinitely more than we may ask or think. He can even do more than you could imagine. This never-ending supply. And then the last thing, he says, glory to him in the church and in Christ Jesus through all generations. That includes us forever and ever. Amen. Now, when I walked in the back, the Scots, they're like, oh, we're going to hear some fair stories this time, right? Obviously, wife stayed at the fair. We were at the fair. And I'm going to give you just one, okay? I was debating between 2. I wasn't going to share the one with you where I watched wrestling, okay? Lawrence County wrestling. And everyone in the whole stands is just like, what are we doing here? At one point, my wife looked at me and she's like, what are we doing here? And I said, just wait, baby, okay? I don't know how to call her baby. I did that moment. I said, just wait, baby, because the final match, they always come into the stands and fight. And you know I love it. And you know what? God blessed me, because they literally came in the stands and fought. And they fought literally, she's right here. If I'm lying, I'm dying. They fought right beside me for about 5 minutes. This J.C. Purdie, great wrestler from Canada, right? He literally fell down beside me, and I was setting, so I stood up. I patted him on the head. Did I not? Pat him on the head. And about that time, am I making this up? You guys are like, what are we doing today? I don't know, okay? Let's get this up. So I guess I'm going to tell 2 stories. But literally, the kid beside me took off his crock and handed it to him and said, hit him with it. And he literally said, you got it, buddy. I was like, it's the best wrestling ever, guys. But here's what happened. So middle of this week, my wife, my daughter, we are standing talking to some people, friends, people we know. And in the middle of talking to them, I'm going to give you where this really does. I'm going to give you the practical part. Seriously. In the middle of talking to people at the fair one night, it's kind of getting late. In the middle of that, my daughter leans over and whispers something to me. Nothing about them. Just kind of like an inside joke because someone was walking behind them. So she tells me kind of like this little phrase, Well, she's whispering this phrase, so she's like right here. My wife's here. We're all right here. So this family, I know it's hard to understand, but just hear me for just a second. So as she whispers this inside joke about somebody else, not even bad, like actually it was complimentary, but as she said that to me, it hit me in that time I'm talking to this couple that this boy's mom attended C3 years back, and I haven't seen her forever. So in the middle of her talking, I'm ignoring her. She's telling me something that she thinks is kind of like inside joke personal. I'm not listening, and I look and I say, hey. So she kind of says her spiel, and as soon as she does that, I say, hey. Well, I guess my daughter thinks I'm a moron and just thought, now you're going to tell everybody what I just said. I know, it's hard to follow. She literally says, oh my gosh, and marches off. Well, I look to my wife on this side, and she goes, oh, and she walks off. So now I'm confused, and I'm looking at these people, and the young girl looked at me, she said, what just happened? I said, I don't know. And I said this, I said, I guess my family thinks I'm a moron. And she was like, shoe fits? No, she was like, so it was so confusing. Well, I just gotta be honest with you guys, okay? I was a little bit, I won't say embarrassed, but I was like, I just stood there for a little bit, and the whole time, and they doubled down, they're like, no, what did they say? And I'm like, I don't know. She whispered something in my ear. I wasn't paying attention. I don't know why anyone's mad at me. So I'm like, so then I walk away, and I'm like, my wife and my daughter both think I am a moron. I started getting mad about it. It's gonna hurt my pride a little bit. So I went back over to the camper, and this is what I did, guys, because I'm 4 years old. I looked at my wife and said, I'm going home. This is like Wednesday. I'm going home. She's like, what? I was like, I'm just going home. I'm done, right? Because I'm a child. So I sat at a camper. I can't make this up. I sat at a camper. She sits, and my wife hates friction. She hates when there's conflict. So I know it's like killing her little heart. I don't care. She said, you should text your daughter. My daughter's named Tegan. You should text Tegan. I said, I'm not texting her anything. She can come to me. And if she comes here, and I told her this, I said, you better be a buffer because I'm lighting somebody up. Okay, I told a friend of mine this past weekend, and he said, you are a child. You're a baby. You're going to go home? You're going to fight people? I was like, so I just sat in the chair. I don't care. So then she starts dubbing us. She's like, are you going to leave? I'm like, I may leave. I don't know. Okay, I might. I'm still pouting. I pouted for like 30 minutes. And I don't know why, because I really didn't want to talk to her, because I'm not happy with her. I didn't want to talk to my daughter. I'm not happy with her. So I literally grabbed my little Kindle, and I sat at the fair on front of my camper that we borrowed, and just started reading a book. Now, you know what that book was on? 10 ways to have a better relationship with your wife and daughter. Nope. 10, like, here is a strategy for having stronger. No. It literally, and it just popped up, so I was like, I'll just read it. It's literally a book that is like 40 chapters on just how amazing Jesus is. I'm not kidding. This guy just keeps going on. He's like, that's the whole purpose I read the book. I just want you, basically what Paul's saying, you can't imagine how great. And I started reading this, and I started thinking about, and I'm being serious. I was like, man, he has forgiven me so much. God, Jesus really does love me. On my best days, on my worst, he loves me. I'm just reading this. And it's the craziest thing. As I'm reading, I'm like, oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Nothing to do with my family. It's amazing. I read about 5 pages. No, I did. I went and grabbed my phone. I text my daughter. I don't know where she's at. She might have ran away. She might be in Canada with a wrestler. I don't know. I literally text my daughter, message her, and I was like, hey, look, I didn't mean to embarrass you. I did. And then after that, my wife said to her, I'm like, look, I texted Tegan. I'm sorry. I was pouty. I was being a baby. Okay, I'm sorry. But here's why I tell you that. It wasn't some strategy to have a better marriage or be better to your kids. It wasn't. It was me being reminded of how amazing God's love for me is. It literally, when people know they're loved, I believe this with all my heart. When you know how much you're truly loved, you begin to love people differently. And you know one of the greatest tests as we close for that, to help you guys out, one of the greatest ways to tell kind of when you're in this mode compared to, I think, the using the wrong fuel. When I fill up anytime on the wrong fuel, here's how I can tell. People become one of two things. People either become, in my life, vehicles or roadblocks. What do I mean by that? Okay? People in my life who become vehicles mean I need you to get me somewhere. And I'm mad at you now. I can't tell you how many times I do marriage counseling with people. And the whole time I listen to them, I'm like, whoa, wait. I want to say, like, so this is your vehicle to happiness. So you're mad at your wife or your husband because they are keeping you from being happy, right? There's some car you got to get in, and they're going to take. If they would just get me there, that's not what humans do. No human is a vehicle to give me the things I need or get me where I want to go. They can help me, but that's not their purpose. But some of us were like, no, I'm frustrated because you're not being the vehicle I need to get me where I want to go. They're never designed to do that. Here's the other one, the roadblock. That's when you think people get in the way. When I was sitting at the camper just fuming, I'm like, I'm mad. They've made me mad. They didn't. They might have said something that could be hurtful. I'm choosing this, right? But I keep thinking, no, they're the roadblock to my happiness tonight. And what you do when you really learn how fully you're loved, you love differently. And here's what you do. This is so easy. I can say, my wife, my kids, my friends, my coworkers, they are not vehicles that get me somewhere. And my wife, my kids, my coworkers, my friends, my family, they're also not roadblocks getting in the way of my happiness. They are simply people loved by God the same way that I am. And when I get that, I'm telling you, I love differently. So here's the thing I want to leave you with. One question. What fuels you most of the time? What fuels you? To be liked? To be known? To be respected? A good friend of mine this week said that. He's like, you know someone disrespected me. Now I'm going to disrespect it. Like, I got you, buddy. Chill out. Chill. But what fuels you? Is it success? Is it to make a name for yourself? No, these are bad. They're just terrible fuel sources because they'll never sustain you. And you'll keep going back and trying to get just a little more. This is going to fill me up. And then you pour it in and you're like, why do I keep filling up but I feel empty? And God says, because you've got to get under this waterfall of my love that never ends. And once you literally stand under this and just get immersed with God's love, weirdly and strangely, I know it doesn't make sense, things start to change for you and me. So get ready to pray. I just want to challenge you with one quick thing, okay? You will always return to what fuels you. You always will. And I would challenge you. The good news today is God says, but if you let my love fuel you, what Christ has done for you. And I got to go. I got to go fast. I'll be done. But I'll say this, okay? I grew up in a church, a lovely, amazing church. But I grew up in a church where they were like, hey, if I was thinking about this. I'll give you an example. If I would walk in this morning and say, here's how you get saved, okay? Jesus is good and he's helped you a little bit, but you also need to do this. I would hope most of you would get up and walk out and be like, no. You just said last week, Trent, it's all Jesus, all completely Jesus. I can't do anything. It's a gift, right? All of us would be like, that's the gospel. But here's what I started learning. It's like, no, Jesus gets you in the door. But as soon as you get in the door, you better clean house. You better start working. So what happens is I accepted that as a kid, and then I started getting into the game where it's like, okay, now I'm going to fill up my own tank every single day, and it's exhausting because you were never designed to do that. Your fuel is always going to be his amazing love, okay? Unless that makes sense. So here's what I'd like to do. If you would, we're just going to pray for just a second. If you just kind of close your eyes. I'm so thankful for you guys in this room, thankful for the people watching online. And Father, I pray today, truly, for this community of believers that we call your church. I thank you so much today for being so good to us. And I know I sound like a broken record, and I say it over and over, almost on repeat. But I pray we would never forget this one key truth. On our worst days, you could not love us less. And on our best days, you could not love us more. It's your love, defined by your Son, that fuels our life. Thank you for that amazing love. I pray today that we would simply kind of follow the pattern of this verse, of this chapter, and maybe check our own fuel sources. What do we keep trying to fill up on? God, I pray through your Spirit, we would realize there's a better source. There's a better fuel for our life. God, I pray today we'd realize once we connect to that, once we trust that, once you make that home into our hearts, we can live differently because we've been loved differently. We love the way that we've been loved by you. So I pray today we'd realize that is the ultimate fuel source. That's the power that we need. Pray this would be an amazing week where we leave here and go to our various circles of influence and friends and family, and we would be that love. They would see it. It's not even something we manufacture. It's in us. It oozes out of us. Let that be our story this week, that we love the way that you've loved us. We thank you for that amazing love. No height, no depth, no, as far as we can see, we can't explain it. You love us that much. Thank you for a love that changes us daily, minute by minute, second by second. Thank you so much for that, Jesus. We thank you. We celebrate your amazing love. And today we hopefully walk out and live and love differently because we have it.